A warm welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Do not forget to subscribe. One of my patrons and in the comments said there's a hosepipe ban in the UK in Yorkshire because we've had extreme hot weather, haven't we? And it's going to be hot for a while. So this hosepipe ban might be spreading its way around the country or whatever. Maybe it's not. So how do you how do you wash your car in the summer when there's a hosepipe ban? Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's my understanding that you can't bust out the hose pipe, you can't rinse all your car, you can't then wash it outside and rinse all the suds off. You can't use the hose pipe essentially. So it sounds obvious, but the first thing to do is there a local place, you know, like a business like Sainsbury's up the road have got a pressure washer gun that you can just drive in and wash your car with. So that would be my preferred option, to do a proper wash with a pressure washer somewhere that offers that, and it's cheap and you kind of do it yourself, rather than getting your car washed, you know. But perhaps the sensible option, if you want to do it yourself, is, and perhaps the only option as well, because I can't think of a way around that hosepipe ban, is to use a rinseless wash product, which is an alternative to a contact wash shampoo almost, but because it's a rinseless wash, after you just go straight on and contact wash your car with a bucket of solution and then dry it, and there's no rinsing, and you know, and you can keep that in your garage and keep using it. So you could fill it up. I don't know if you fill that up in the house with water, you're not breaching the hosepipe ban, are you? Someone tell me yes or no. Don't know, but anyway, there's no hosepipe ban here. Like I say, you could probably actually save water doing this. So there's two rinseless washes which I'm really drawn to. The first one is the Koch Rapid Rinseless Wash, which was the winner of my rinseless test. Really affordable, £12.95 for a litre. I like it because it's not smeary, actually. That's one other thing that I've really found about it since the video. Really useful chemical. Doesn't leave any permanent protection behind or semi-permanent protection behind, but leaves some sort of glossing agent or smoothing agent or something silky, I think, but it kind of washes off. So it's a good general purpose rapid rinseless wash that makes a good clay lube and all that sort of stuff, quick detailer. I'm just using this Tolco proportioner to mix out 40ml to mix in a bucket of 10 litres, so that we've got the magic ratio of around 1 to whatever it is, 1 to 250, I think it is, roughly, with this product, just roughly. So they're pretty economical as well, especially when you mix them down. The other one that I like is the HydroSave, because this does contain some protective nano sealant, and it makes a really good drying aid when you want to top up protection as well. So this I really like. It's effective at low ratios, even at 1 to 50 as a quick detailer. It seems to work really well. So they're slightly different. Semi-permanent protection left behind, general purpose rapid rinseless wash kind of thing. So we'll put this in here. We'll just stir this up, just so it's all mixed up. In terms of equipment that we need, well, we're going to have a wash bucket with around 10 litres of water. We're going to have a soft tip detail factory brush. And my preference still, really, when you're worried about swirling, is still these cheaper Chanels. I would probably use this, you know, I'd rather use this than a sponge. And even those microfiber ones that I think are perhaps the most elite on the market, I still think there's something in these Chanels being slightly safer. That's just my opinion, but it's based on something. The next thing is we have a car that's just kind of got that summer dust on it and little bird poo droppings, and it's not particularly dirty. If the car is plastered in road film, like doing this, I don't think is a good idea. I think it's good for summer light wipe downs. I would also not use a rinseless wash on my black car because the finish it's finished out and it's really good. You can wash your car with a rinseless wash and you won't plaster it in swirls and do all this damage, but you will, I think, wiping this dirt, your chances of putting in fine haze are much higher than if you use a traditional wash method and you pre-wash that all off and you that go back in with all your lubey soap and shampoo and wipe it, and then dry it, and then you bust out the air as well. That's a proper safe wash, and it is safer, and it also cleans the car better, but we can't do that. I can't use the blower because there's not enough rinse water all around the car to stop the dust kicking up. So I'm relying on a towel. So bucket, Detail Factory brush, wash mitt, Chanel, sponge, whatever you want to use. And here I've got a warp knit drying towel. This is the Geon one. I've got about 4 or 5 different ones of these. I like them because they're all twisted loops. They're quite dense microfiber that you just doesn't bite to the panel because they're not all loose strands. You just put it on the panel. And when you're drying, I think you need to be mindful of pushing into the paint and buffing rather than just letting the towel kind of soak up the water. And you know, every time you move the towel all over the car, there is a bit more risk. But the key thing, I think, is more pressure. Okay. Another tip, I think, with rinseless washes that helps is to pre-wash it. Yeah, just to pre-soak it out, because we can't rinse the car, so we're just taking some of that solution. And these pump sprayers, this is the Auto Glim one, which, you know, is an IK sprayer, but they're pretty good. They're not flawless, these things, but you've got to maintain these little things so they keep working. If you put certain chemicals in them with water, they can calcify up and then block up your nozzles and stuff. So you do need to be mindful of them. But the sprayers, I think, are better than the foamers. So, but these things, yeah, there you go. So we haven't got to go pump-tastic mad. So what we'll do is we'll just work off the front of the car. So you can see we've got good protection down. We're just going to soak out all of these areas. This is the problem when you've got a camera in one hand and you lose your rumpy pumpy. Shit, it's still going. Still going. You lose your rumpy pumpy. So this is just going to wet out. Out with the bad air, in with the good air, out with the bad air, in with the good air, in, out, in, out, in, out. Sorry. Where these are going, these are pretty cool actually, aren't they? They're pretty cool. So really just want to soak. I can see all cobwebs on the front as well. It's sat around for a bit. I really just do want to flood it because the more I can flood, the better. I'll just work off the front of the car because if we do the whole car, we'll be here for quite a while, but you'll get the idea. So all of the dust is now wetted out. Especially worried about this bonnet because I don't want to scratch all this car up. Even though this car needs proper paint correction at some point. It needs a good cut and finish, this car. Like, the front bumper and bonnet are okay. The wings are not great. The rest of it's not great, but it's all right. It's glossy and shiny. It's glossed up. So we've pre-treated. So what's the thing I'm mindful of? And I'm not a rinseless wash expert, but I'm always mindful of contacting dirt. If I have dust on my E36 and I spray it with like a quick detailer and I wipe it off, that can put in fine haze. It does put in fine haze, really. So I'm mindful of this process. I'm mindful of contact. So there's 2 bits we need to clean. We need to get all the panels clean, but we also need to get the nooks and crevices kind of clean on the car. And when you're using these rinseless washes, it's the nooks and crevices, like all in here, where you get dirt build up. It's not too bad on this car, but on ones that won't have been cleaned so much, oh, I've got a bit of surfactant in there. On ones that won't have been cleaned so much, that's where, if you don't go around and do all this stuff, you wash off all the panels and then later on you see all the dirt and dust in all the crevices and it's horrible. So I'd always when you're washing, one of these is just as important as the wash mitt almost, because the wash mitt won't get right into these kind of gaps in there, you know, and push out all the dirt and stuff. Pressure washing will, but you know, the wash mitt won't get into there and get into the gaps around here. So always a good brush is good. These soft tip Detail Factory brushes are fantastic. They're not always the best option when the car's really, really dirty. So you get the idea there, and I probably want to just bend over. There's not really much that's going to benefit from being cleaned there with that brush. I can get all of that, yeah. I've got no badge to clean round. I won't bother popping the cap and going in there. Now we can take, if I put this on my hand, oh, excuse me, forgive the dodgy camera work. If I put this on my hand, I can just control the pressure a little bit more, which sounds a bit pedantic, but it just means I can take up the weight of all that heavy water in the mitt and just not press into the panel. So I'm just lightly going over the panel, just knocking off all of that dust. Let's get this bit. This bit's quite dirty. But you see what I mean about the Koch Rapid Rinseless Wash? When you knock it down, you know, you're using 40 mil of chemical to 240 mil. 40 mil of chemical to 10 litres, 10,000 mil, or 1 unit of chemical to every 250 units of water. When you use them at that ratio, generally with any rinseless wash, you don't get that murky, sort of rich, cloudy film, which is what I like. Yes, it does feel like you're just washing your car with water, because that's what this film looks like. But you're really just using a tiny amount of material, which you are when you use a contact wash shampoo. You know, most contact wash shampoos, you know, you could use 1 unit of detergent to 250 units of water. It's a similar sort of concentration ratios. And interestingly enough, the rinselesses do go up to like 1 to 2,000. And so do the shampoos. So I'm just getting off little bits of bird poo stuck on bugs on the bumper, but I'm not feeling that horrible scratchy feel. That's always the worry for me. If this was getting filthy with grit and dirt as I use it, then it's just not a good feeling. So I would also say that this will only get me, this won't get me the squeaky clean finish, but it will get me like a car which kind of looks clean, if you like. Now this towel is at its best right now because it's dry. So when we were talking about what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't turbo buff into this and buff it all vigorously up into a shine. Yeah, I'm just going to try and gently get most of the water off this car. And this, I think during this phase, just gently, this is where the Hydrosil comes in good. It's probably a better drying aid because of that boost to hydrophobicity. Now if we come around here, I just want to show you what I notice where rinselesses don't really always cut it. They don't always cut it because you're relying on that contact. So there's just some like stuck on sap or like bird poo or something. They're not strong at kind of breaking that sort of stuff down. And because you're going in really gently to break that dirt off, look, see there, just needed a little bit more contact. The contact that we've put on that hasn't shifted. And just going over it with this little soft tip brush has. So yeah, I always notice when I use them in summer with little clumps of dirt that, let's just gently scoop that up, there we go. Gently scoop that up. That the clumps of dirt don't always come off. If this was all soaked out and pre-washed and pressure washed, you tend to find that all comes off in the pre-wash. Just gently. Gently. There we go, gently. There you go, you get the idea. So, let's just get that bit of glass. This you can pressure in a little bit more and get it give it a bit more pressure. Just do around that other side. I need to, well, that glass is split, so it's coming off. Yeah, so my only golden rule is just don't pressure into the paintwork on the car. And what we've effectively done there is clean that car to a half decent standard. This must be legal. Tell me in that comment if it's legal. I mean, if you don't have a hose pipe ban on now, if you're not allowed to fill up that bucket, tell me, but fill it up now before there's a hose pipe ban and just have it sitting in your garage so that you can do this if you want, or do it on your driveway when the hose pipe ban comes along, and just use that bucket for the next month or so while the hose pipe ban is in force. Yeah, so like, you know, our glass is kind of reasonably clean. Our panels are kind of reasonably clean. We haven't done any major damage, but I would not, like I said at the start of the video, I would not like to wash my car this way. You can get away with it in summer when it's just a light, quick dust. And yeah, you know what? The amount of time it takes to do it is, whenever I do this, I always think, yeah, that's absolutely fine. You know, as long as you're light-handed. The more you ask of the product, you know, the more dirt that's on there, especially in winter, I think, then it gets to the point where the rinseless isn't always going to be a good option. And I won't use it, like I say, on if you're really fussy and you have a garage maybe, and you've got a car in the garage and it's a dark car and you've finished out that car, you know, and you're really fussy about the paint and you look at it with light, that whole rinseless wash thing is going to be less for you. But if you've got a car and you like just maintaining it so that you don't spend hours on it and you just come into the garage and do a quick wipe down on this and it's good to go for the next week of work, then it does make a lot of sense. Or in this hosepipe scenario, what you can't do with like rinseless washes, all those arches, they're one of the dirtiest parts of the car, and the underneath of the car, and inside those alloy wheels and those brake calipers and stuff, you know, the dirty engine bay and stuff. The more dirt you've got to clean, then the more, you know, you need that pressure wash, you need those stronger cleaning materials, and you need to go in with all your brushes and all that. Rinseless wash is good for most light cleaning. There's guys out there that use it to clean heavily dirty cars and all that sort of stuff, but just I don't do that. Yeah, really, really cool. So bucket, mitt, brush, rinseless wash of choice. I'm using RRW. You could use Save if you want more protection. A good pump sprayer. These are these Auto Glim one, which is an IK sprayer, isn't it? Very good for this as well. And a nice drying towel, and you can wash your car. And that will go. This will go back outside because I can't get two in here. I can, but you can't use the garage then, so I tend to have one in here. And it will go back outside and it will look really clean. There's a really important thing is it makes a big difference if a car's stored inside or outside. Like, one of the best things you can ever do for a car is store it in a garage. Like, if a car's lived in a garage for 20 years and used, it will be infinitely better than a car that's been outside for 20 years and used. Even if you're meticulous and you maintain the one outside, that's going to help. But the exposure to like all the rain and the dirt and the leaves falling off, and in the summer the strong UV, the windy conditions, the grit, it's no different. The analogy I use, all this patio is now dirty. If I move that wheelie bin forward, that bit of patio under there is like spotless. It's like it was when I cleaned it a year ago because it's covered from the elements. That's the analogy. So hopefully, guys, this gives you an idea of what I would do to maintain my car during the hose pipe ban. This makes a lot of sense, but like I say, if you want to use a traditional method, then you're going to have to go down to the local kind of car wash place, you know, the coin op, as they call them in America, where we have you put the coins in the machine, use a pressure washer. Wish there was a lot more businesses out there that had like bays and bays of those where you could drive up and wash your own car, because lots of people would want that, I think. Right, I'm going to carry on around this and just quickly rinseless wash this entire car, and it will go back outside, and I'll bring the Black Peril back in here. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye for now.